Year, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. If you can subscribe below, that would be a big help for us, and you'll be alerted every time we have previews just like this or the race of the day, which will be on Thursday. We also have a New Year's sale going on right now that I think all of you want to take advantage of. So while you're looking at the race of the day PPs on the website, head on over and take advantage of that sale. When you use the promo code NY2025, you'll get 15% off everything in the DRF shop, and that'll run all the way through January the 6th. So let's head on to Aqueduct for the Thursday race of the day. We can meet the field for race number 2. This is a New York bred first level allowance, optional 80 claimer, traveling 1 mile, newly turned 3-year-old boys here with Sand Devil as the 4-5 favorite. David, coming off a very impressive maiden special weight win when this guy earned an 83 buyer speed figure going 6 furlongs at Aqueduct back on December the 8th.
Yeah, you don't always see Linda Rice have her first-time starters cranked up to deliver not only a debut victory, but as professional one as we saw from Sand Devil, earning a fast 83 buyer. He's coming in as the best horse in this race on speed figures. Just has to stretch out to the mile for the first time, having won that debut going 6 furlongs. And with that obstacle to overcome, he's likely to be a pretty short price. So we'll see if there's anybody that can stay with him on the front end.
The inside draw stretching out. We'll see where Timeform US puts him as far as the pace projector is concerned. Not really a surprise to see them having him hold that position. We've also seen horses like Buttah and McDiesel flash a little speed. Even way back in his debut, Smilensaycheese flashed some speed on a sloppy racetrack. But I think if they all were to try to get aggressive and show that speed, Sand Devil would probably be one of the quicker.
Yeah, I think breaking from the inside, the hand is forced a little bit for Jose Lezcano to at least show a little bit of aggression to secure position, because you don't want to get into a situation where you decide to rate before the break and then maybe a horse tries to slow down the pace in the front end and Sand Devil gets ranked behind horses. So I imagine they'll go forward with him and they'll see what anybody else outside wants to do, because horses like Buttah and McDiesel, and as you said, even Smilensaycheese, they have shown tactical speed at different points in the past, but Sand Devil definitely showed the quickness on debut that he can be in front if they want him to be there.
Let's take a look at Sand Devil and talk a little more about him. This was his most recent, his only race. It was a really impressive win on December the 8th. His dam is a 4-time stakes winner, New York bred. We haven't seen many of the horses run back from this race. So if you're trying to get a feel for how strong it was, can't really do so yet. The top 6 finishers have not run back, but he sat nicely. It was professional, David, behind a couple of horses battling it out. It's set up for him, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do, did it impressively, and earned a nice speed figure in doing so.
Yeah, I am always a little reticent to take the speed figures at face value for races like this where you don't have the run backs to really judge it by. But I mean, you do look at the horses coming across the wire, and there were some big gaps between them at the end. I mean, Sand Devil won by a decisive 4 lengths. There were 7 lengths between the second and third place finishers. So in races like that, you typically can have some faith that this fast number that it was assigned is legitimate. And he's just coming in as the fastest horse in here. So the big question is, can he run as fast, stretching out to the mile? You know, as you were noting, pedigree says that he should be fine. The dam, while she won multiple stakes, she won going as far as 9 furlongs on the dirt. He's a half brother to Can You Dig It, who also was a 9 furlong stakes winner on the dirt. So there's plenty of stamina there. He is by Violence, who you generally think of as more of a speed sprint sire, can get horses that can go, a mile. So we'll see if that's the case for Sand Devil. One takeaway that I had from watching his debut is that he's got a really quick action to him and sort of a shorter stride. And sometimes horses like that you associate more with being sprint type. So I wonder if he is really going to improve going the mile distance, but he might just have the edge and ability on this field. So we'll see what kind of price he goes off at, but not the kind of horse that I typically want to rely on too heavily as a big favorite.
The number 2, New Matthew, has raced 3 times. His debut came sprinting, but when you watch his races visually, he just looks like a horse who wanted to go longer. And he was impressive on both surfaces, on the turf, and then he broke his maiden actually on the dirt in this most recent race that we're taking a look at right now. He had a fine start. He was inside. He was only about a length off at the start. Then he got shuffled back all the way to the 7th position, almost 2.5 lengths behind. I was impressed with how he kind of held position there. Once he got clearance, he really started to make up some ground. And I think he takes a little while to get going, but he's a horse who visually was pretty nice here, David, getting the job done late.
Yeah, I've had some interest in this horse really for his entire career. I caught one of his workouts over the summer at Saratoga and just looked like a horse that had a really nice stride to him, good mechanics, and clearly needed his debut race and then subsequently improved a lot stretching out on the turf and then got the job done on the dirt last time. I do like his turf race best of those that I've seen from him, and I wonder if he's a horse that is ultimately going to be best on that surface. But as you were indicating, it seems like distance does really work for this horse. He's got a nice big loping stride to him and feels like one that will be finishing at the end. It's just a matter of whether or not he can run fast enough to be competitive against a field like this.
Yeah, probably be hoping that a couple of these all push the pace early on and set it up for him to get a pace to run at here. One of those horses who may be able to set it up early for him is Buttah, the number 3, who just got outrun a little early in his most recent race and backed up, but he has shown speed before, even speed sprinting. So in this particular race, that's probably his best case scenario for hitting the board here or having a good finish. And with Luzzy aboard, one thing I've seen him from all the way back to his time at Sam Houston, very good getting horses on the front end, getting aggressive, showing speed with horses. Buttah will get Lasix for the first time here. What do you project for Buttah in this field?
I mean, the positive with Buttah is that it does feel like he's taken these gradual steps forward in each start. I mean, he started out pretty slow on debut and then won a maiden race with just a 54 buyer. But when they stepped him up against winners, he just kept getting a little bit faster. Now, he's got to get a lot faster to beat a field like this, especially if Sand Devil runs back to his debut speed figure. But Buttah's stretching out to the mile for the first time, and he does have some indicators in his pedigree to suggest that this distance could work for him. He's a half-brother to some accomplished New York breds like Lobster and Chowda who could go this far. So I think Buttah could take another step forward here. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to get him into the winner's circle.
You put the 3 of them together. That's a nice meal, lobster, butter, and chowder. Yes, sir. We move to McDiesel, who broke the maiden in the second start at Saratoga. So if you're looking at the first 2 starts of his career, they're both really solid. He was runner-up in his debut, comes back in his second start, breaks the maiden, going a mile in a race that was taken off the turf. But following that, stepped up against Stakes Company in 4 straight races, 2 of them on the dirt, 2 of them on the turf. And in those 4 races combined, has only outfinished 5 total horses. So we just haven't seen the form progress really for him, David. He's shown a little bit of speed. That was the race that he won going a mile. So maybe they'll try to get him forwardly placed in here, but just hasn't really finished a whole lot in his last few starts.
Yeah, and if you go back to that race that he did win, going the mile out of the Wilson chute at Saratoga, that was August 1st, and that was the strongest rail bias of the entire meet at Saratoga, one of the strongest rail biases that we've seen of the entire year at Naira, and this horse was right smack dab on the rail the entire trip that he got. So I think that victory was arguably a little bit enhanced by the racetrack. So I just don't think that there's a whole lot of form to hold on to with this horse, and he's going to have to run faster than he ever has before to be competitive with this group.
Corvus is the next one up. Corvus comes off of a 4th place finish against Open Company last time out. He doesn't have a lot of early speed. And then in his last start, he was even slower than normal. He was probably 15 lengths out of it at one point. So he really had no shot in winning that race. He did finish 4th, beaten 6+. And he's the type of horse where if they go really fast, he can come running like he did a couple starts back when he broke his maiden. That just lack of early speed in a race like this in a small field where I'm not sure how fast they're going to be going early on, it's tough for me to put him on the win end. I could see him being more of an underneath horse. What do you think about Corvus in here?
Yeah, I mean, he's another one that has been improving his speed figure in every start. So I like to see that. It just seems like a horse that's, learning the game and progressing every time. And he doesn't have much early speed, as you noted, but at least he's going to be finishing, and he clearly gets this distance. He was chasing home a pretty good horse last time in Cyclone State, a runner that's really improved lately for trainer Chad Summers. Actually, I think we can expect to see him in the Jerome Stakes coming up on Saturday at Aqueduct. So Corvus facing a field probably of similar quality here. He's just going to have to get a little bit faster to actually beat a group like this.
We round out the field with Smilensaycheese, who finished 3rd in a stakes race last time out to make him stakes placed. He's been in stakes races 4 consecutive times. 3 of those times he lost to Sacrosanct, who we'll see right here. This was not a bad effort, David. He was getting a pretty nice trip behind the top 2. He got distance a little bit, but inside, he ended up moving and kind of trying again, taking another shot at him. He had a little bit of traffic. Once he built up his momentum, he had an okay 3rd here. Not a bad effort behind an undefeated 3-time New York bred stakes winner.
Yeah, I've liked this horse since the beginning of his career. I thought his debut victory at Saratoga, where he showed a lot of speed, was pretty impressive because he got challenged on the turn, was green, and then still pulled away from that field at the end. Now, that greenness that he showed got exacerbated in subsequent starts where he was reacting badly to kickback, was lugging out on the turns of his races, was just not really handling racing in and amongst other horses. I think that he's gradually been getting over those issues, though. And I think last time in the that New York Stallion Series stakes, it was the most professional that we've seen him since that debut race, because he had to race behind horses and try to come through. And he just kept staying on at the end. And he felt like a horse that really could get the mile distance. I know that last race was the 7 furlongs, but he wasn't quitting at the end. Now, he probably should have finished 4th in that race because there was a horse that got completely stopped in mid-stretch that might have actually won if he had gotten through. But still, this was the best speed figure the horse has run yet, only 6 points off the debut number that Sand Devil earned. And I just trust Smilensaycheese more to get this distance. And he seems like a horse that would really benefit from drawing in the far outside post, where a lot of those issues that he's had previously are not going to be applicable to today's race because he's going to be in the clear every step of the way.
Yeah, he's the most proven. He's the most experienced in here when it comes to facing stakes company and actually running well against legitimate company here with his like 4 consecutive races against stakes foes and that good effort against Sacrosanct last time out. Let's see how we move to the selections, David, and we finish up with this race. So I think we go right back to the horse you were just talking about, Smilensaycheese for you, right?
Yeah, just not going to put a horse like Sand Devil on top because he's so obvious and he's got a lot to prove coming off that one race sprinting against suspect competition. And I just think Smilensaycheese, even though he's had a lot more opportunities, still has upside coming into the 6th start of his career and feels like a horse that now that he's finally getting over his issues and figuring everything out, we might start to see more talent come out.
I went to the 2 new Matthew, like the way this horse was finishing. Probably needs a little bit of help with 1 or 2 of these horses, maybe putting some pressure on Sand Devil and to set it up for him. But like what we've seen from new Matthew, Sand Devil underneath, Smilensaycheese, the proven horse here, who he's kind of the measuring stick for this race. Someone will probably have to jump up and run a better one than we've seen in order to beat him. And then rounding things out with the number 3 there, but maybe flashing some early speed. So 2-1-6-3 for me, 6-1-3-2 for David. However you're playing them on Thursday at Aqueduct, we wish you the best of luck.